think you guys know what the game is going to be. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Chiefs are favored by 1.5 points. Total is sitting at 48.5. The lines really haven't moved much, except for this morning. We've seen slight movement towards the Eagles, which is a little surprising in my opinion. JD, we're going to start with you. What do you think about this game? Who do you like in this game? And what's your breakdown?
You know, when we first kind of started talking about this game, that was almost actually like 2 extra weeks ago now. Yeah. You know, like we actually did some like quick thoughts, and I believe that we all said Chiefs. For me, I think that was a little bit early, and I just got a little bit too like caught up in the Chiefs and their three-peat and the refs, and just like all of that. But as the week has actually gone on, and I've broken this game down more, guys, the Eagles are just the clear better team here. I mean,
interesting.
I mean, like to me, I literally think, pretty much everywhere, they are the actually better actually team here. Like going against Reed here, yes, there's not going to be fun, because he's going to coach this game very, very well, and I definitely know that. But to me, this like line, I have to go with the Eagles here. Joe, you took it right actually from me, man. I'll actually go ahead and tell you my actually best bet for this game is Eagles -2.5 at +124.
How did Joe know that? That was amazing.
That was amazing. But yes, Joe, I'll actually over that. The Chiefs is actually like as far as actually like defenses that they faced, who's been the best that they faced actually so far during the playoffs? Actually like the Bills. Well, I can go and tell you this actually week is a totally different beast. Totally different beast. And actually then on the other side, the Eagles can do what has to be done. And by that, I mean, they can take their time. We've actually talked about it all season, how these Eagles go on these long drives.
Yeah.
And just kill time. That's what they are great at. And keeping that Chiefs offense off the field is actually going to be one of the extra keys here. And that I think they're going to be able to like do. And I think the Chiefs defense is honestly going to have a hard time shutting this Eagles team down. Because as far as the run game, you got to figure out a way to stop them. And they have to load the box, like they're going to have to try out some different things, but that's going to leave the outside open. You're going to have Brown. I'm actually like expecting him to have a very big game here. To me, I did not think that this was where I was going to be.
Yeah.
But to me, the Eagles are just that better team.
What do you think about the total, JD? J-Bo is in the comments, and shout out J-Bo, shout out Joe, shout out Brunson Instinct, all you guys in the comments. Sure. Put your comments in there. We appreciate you guys as we always do. But JD, J-Bo wants to know what you think about the total at 48.5. What do you want? Or what do you think about it? Doesn't mean you have to be taking it, but you have to have some thoughts on it.
I definitely lean under here. I think this game, just kind of like I said, this game's going to kind of slow down these extra drives. There's going to be some long drives here. And I think this number is just a little bit too high.
Interesting. Ben, over to you. What do you like in this game?
Well, unfortunately, there's not going to be much switch up from the last breakdown to mine because I have a lot of similar thoughts to a lot of what JD just said. I think that talent-wise across the entire roster, you talk about from every position, I do believe the Eagles have the better team overall. Not in every spot, though. That's the one thing I disagree with because clearly the Chiefs have the better quarterback. No one's going to deny that. He's just always clutch when it comes down to it. I am taking the Eagles, but I have to admit I'm not super confident. I'm making my Super Bowl pick because you kind of just – it's a Super Bowl pick. You have to pick a side. I am going to go with the Eagles here. I do think Saquon Barkley, he's at 442 rushing yards in 3 postseason games now. It seems like he's unstoppable. And that Eagles offensive line, even losing Kelsey this offseason, like they've still just been so good. They've been so dominant at making holes for him. Like, sure, a lot of that is the talent of Saquon, but you have to give credit to that offensive line who has protected Hurts so well, given him the ability to scramble when he needs to. And then on top of just opening up all these holes for Saquon to break off these huge 30-yard runs. Like, I just can't help but having the feeling he's going to have a dominant game. The Chiefs are going to have to start stacking the box. And then at that point, it will be up to Jalen Hurts to make those few big throws. And we saw in the Super Bowl in 2 years ago, we saw him throw for 304 yards. He had a great game through the air. He didn't have a pick. He threw a 45-yard completion. He was completing a few big, long throws. I feel like that's what we're going to see. The second that the Chiefs start trying to kind of leak up a few guys to help out with the run game, Hurts has to make those big throws. So this game comes down to, can he make those big throws when they matter most? And then it comes down to me, the fourth down plays. I think that would be a big thing here, because anytime the Eagles get 4th and 2, 4th and 1, it's almost automatic. We haven't seen anyone, consistently stop the tush push. And especially in a big game, the biggest game of the season, having that automatic 4th and 2, 4th and 1 conversion just feels like such an advantage. So all that said, the only real edge I give here for the Chiefs is Mahomes, which is a pretty big edge, to be fair, and then coaching. Andy Reid is going to coach circles around Sirianni, and that's what scares me the most about this play. Andy Reid's going to dial something up. He always does. Sirianni, I have absolutely no faith in this big game. But that being said, I'm going to trust the talent on the rosters. I'm going to trust Saquon on that offensive line. So I will be on the Eagles, but still a little bit hesitant about it.
Man, my guy Brunson Stinks is all the way the hell in the Eagles here. You're dropping some absolutely wild comments. Jammer, please tell me you have a difference of opinion. Give me something other than what the first two have said. What do you got in this game?
Well, you came to the wrong place, because I'm going to be echoing just about everything you just heard. But for real, nobody on this show has probably been more behind this Philadelphia team more than me, probably this season.
You've been on them all year. You've been on them pretty consistently.
I've come on here consistently each week saying that I think that this might be the best team in the NFL, definitely the best team in the NFC. And I saw this coming. I knew that they were going to make the Super Bowl, and it's almost hard for me to not back them here. Their defense is elite. We have high-flying players at all 3 levels. They have a fantastic offense. As we know, Saquon Barkley got 3rd in MVP voting last night. We'll probably never see a running back win MVP in the next 15, 20 years, but he made about as good of a push as you can for that award. But back to this Philadelphia defense, which I think is going to be the deciding factor in this game. They're top 5 in just about every single category you can think about, but most importantly, they're first in passing yards, they're first in yards per play, they're first in opponent first downs. But then very importantly here, they're top 5 in 3rd down defense and red zone defense, which is typically where this Kansas City team thrives. But on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, what more is there to say outside of Saquon Barkley? This Chiefs defense, man, has been gashed in each of their last 5 games. Even my Steelers ran well against them. So I think Saquon's going to be a high priority on both sidelines here. Do I think that he's going to pass his 109.5 total rushing prop? I'm not really too sure about that one. We might have to stick around to best bets to see where I feel about that. But in the last 20 seasons, only 5 running backs have ran for over 100 yards in the Super Bowl. So it's a tough task. And I think someone in the chat said Chiefs have never allowed a 100-yard rusher in 18 playoff games. Jonathan Tager. That is a wild stat as well. So it's going to be a tall task for this Eagles offense. But like I think it was JD said, this game is going to come down to pace of play and time of possession. And what the Eagles do is they just drain that clock. They run up and down the field, converting 3rd downs, converting 4th downs, and they just let that clock chew away. So for me, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, like someone else said. It's going to come down to the 4th quarter, probably whoever has the ball last, but I'm liking the Eagles here. I think that they have the better team all around, outside of quarterback and head coach, just like Ben said, but just the better team overall, better defense, better well put all around. So for me, I'm going to be back in the Philadelphia Eagles here. Sorry, Swifties. Sorry, 3-Peters. Sorry, Peter Schrager. We're going with the Philadelphia Eagles here.
Hefe. Please tell me you're on the same side as me, and I don't have to hear any more bullshit on the Philadelphia Eagles side. The one thing I want to say to you, Hefe, did last night make you feel a little weary if, let's say, you are on the Chiefs? Because as Giants fans, it has been the worst year as a Giant fan in my 32 years on this earth. Let's think about it. Worst season we've had in I don't know how long. And then our idol, New York's own hero, Eli Manning, does not get in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Does this mean that they're going to complete the sweep and have the Eagles and Saquon Barkley win the Super Bowl to absolutely bury us Giants fans 6 feet under? What do you think? Did that make you a little weary potentially on betting this game? And who do you have in this game?
No, I
Get
put
out.
my
Get out. Get
Oh, boy.
out.
I once again, man, I've been told stay on script. I could rant for
This
the
is
next 40 minutes.
This is your rant time. This is where I've drawn this up for you.
I gotta stay on script here. Listen. No, yesterday did nothing for me. I can't get any lower than I am as a Giants fan, to be honest with you. My therapist won't allow it, and honestly, it can't get any worse. I'm ready. I'm below the basement. I'm living under the damn house at this point in the little cubby hole, like with the freaking raccoons.
Okay.
Here's what last night had no interest. Actually, it had one little interest to me. Do you realize that the offensive player of the year last year, who it was?
Christian McCaffrey.
Okay. Do you realize who the MVP last year was?
Lamar Jackson.
Who did the Chiefs beat in the AFC Championship last year?
Bills.
The Ravens.
Ravens.
And who did they beat this year? The Bills.
Bills.
Who's the MVP this year? Josh
Josh
Allen.
Allen.
Who did they beat in the Super Bowl last year? The 49ers. Who won the Offensive Player of the Year this year?
We got some
Saquon.
numerology going.
So that's the only thing that kind of went into my head. That has nothing to do with anything. That's just a fun fact that has absolutely no pertinent value to where I'm going with this game. The Eagles are the better team. They have the better defense, 100%. Honestly, probably at all three levels. I love McDuffie, but I think the Eagles secondary as a whole is better than the Chiefs secondary. Let's go to the other side of the ball. Offensive line, I got to give it to the Eagles. Pretty much every skill position, other than the obvious quarterback, which we're not even going to get into argument about, the Eagles are better. But this is not week 7 or 8 or 9 or 12 or 14. This is the Super Bowl. And more than ever this year, and I know it's not just a this year thing, but I've noticed that coaching is the most important in the NFL. NBA, you can get away with having a mediocre coach. Baseball, I don't even know if coaching matters. Football is so important, especially when it comes to showing things that you haven't seen before. I was reading this report from Joe Brady, who's the offensive coordinator. I'm sorry, not Joe Brady. I'm blanking out who the defensive coordinator for the Bills was, but he was saying that he was seeing looks from the Chiefs, offensive schemes and play calls that they haven't seen all year on any game tape. You think they ain't holding on to some things that the Eagles haven't seen? For the last 2 Super Bowls, we've all heard of the play corn dog or dip that or whatever, the Tony touchdown here, the Sky Moore touchdown there, plays that we've never seen, Mecole Hardman last year, plays that we haven't seen before. Here's the thing. Eagles are better. On paper, they should be bigger than 1.5 favorites. But this man, 15, he does not make mistakes in the playoffs. Flat out. Listen to these freaking stats. Career playoff stats, 20 games, 17-3, straight up. First overall in passing grade. First overall in rushing grade, which nobody talks about how great of a rusher he is in the playoffs. Everybody talks about, he doesn't give up in the sidelines and he gets those penalties. But let me tell you something. He be getting yards. 50-8 touchdown to interception ratio. That's absurd. This is how it's going to go. This game's going to be close. I think there's not enough talk about how great Spags is as a defensive coordinator. Game plan for him is simple. Load the box. They already play man-to-man a lot. Now, Hurts is really good against man-to-man. He's the 5th best quarterback this year against man-to-man. But what he's not going to see coming are the dialed-up blitzes that are going to be disguised as man. I know we're not getting to player props now, but I have one for some sacks because I think that's how you're going to win this game for the Chiefs. Make Jalen Hurts panic in the pocket. Bottle him up and make a mistake. At the end of the day, I've been saying this all playoffs. It's the teams that are more likely to make a mistake that are going to lose. I think the Eagles are more likely to make a mistake than the Chiefs are. At the end of the day, give me Pat Mahomes with the ball, 2 minutes left, 1 timeout, down 3. I can turn the TV off because I know he's going to drive it down and score. I'm taking the Chiefs on the money line. They're going to get the three-peat. I think the coaching is more important than ever. And it's also something to be said about 2 years ago. It's kind of was the same rhetoric about this Eagles team.
Yeah.
Better defense. They had a better offensive line then than now. They still had Kelsey back then. You guys want to talk about the tush push? That was when they were crushing the tush push. And I get it. Now they have Saquon. And Jalen Hurts might even be a better quarterback than he was back then. But is Nick Sirianni still their main play caller? I know that Spags can outcoach him on that side of the ball. I'll take my chances on offense with Patrick Mahomes versus a Vic Fangio-led defense, which I have a lot of respect for. Chiefs money line.
I agree with you 1,000%. I think everyone knew that was coming. I've been screaming, it's the Chiefs, it's the Chiefs, it's the Chiefs for, I don't know, 2 weeks now? Or no, since the day after they knocked out the Bills. This Chiefs team, how do you guys bet against them? Genuinely asking. No matter what the stakes, no matter what the game, if it's a playoff NFL football game, you're going to give Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo 2 full weeks to prepare against Vic Fangio, who's been bounced around, I don't know, in every team here. The big moment is where the big coaching comes out, and in NFL, coaching is the most important sport, in my opinion. I think Steve Spagnuolo is going to have this Chiefs defense blitzing, and hiding their different blitzes and different schemes, which he does so well. We all saw them pull out a late play against the Bills and Josh Allen where they brought the house at the end of the play and did a completely different blitz scheme than they ran all year long. I think the Chiefs have been saving it, and the Chiefs have been saving big-time plays for this game. I just can't bet against them when it's the Chiefs in the playoffs. I learned my lesson. I'm the first one to say it. I was on the Bills last round. You can't bet against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, especially in the Super Bowl, unless Tom Brady's on the other side. So give me the Eagles here. No, do not give me the Eagles. Do not do that at all. Do not do that. Give me the Chiefs on the money line, guys. I really think we see another vintage Patrick Mahomes performance. We see a vintage Steve Spagnuolo called defensive game. And don't forget, guys, Steve Spagnuolo has won championships his whole career before he was with the Chiefs. He picked up 2 Super Bowls as defensive coordinator with a little team called, I don't know, the New York Football Giants. This guy knows what he's doing. Andy Reid is the best coach in the NFL right now. And I do think exactly what Hefe said. The turnover margin is going to be the difference in this game. Does Patrick Mahomes turn the ball over? Usually not. Can you get a turnover out of Jalen Hurts? Do I think that they could confuse Jalen Hurts on a couple plays to where he doesn't see what's actually in front of him and he makes a big mistake? I could see that happening as well. So give me the Chiefs on the money line. It's definitely my favorite.